Hi, this is Josh, and today we're going to go through some of the Amazon DIY projects that I've done. And basically what that means is these are things that I bought from Amazon or other vendors that I put into my Grenadier, and they basically go into three categories: lighting, storage, and power. Basically, there's a few things I think I needed to add to the Grenadier, and after I got my Grenadier, I realized that it's big and there's a lot of space, but there's not a lot of storage. And so I looked for creative ways to enhance the storage capability, because you can stack things really high in the back, but it's not super deep and super wide, and it can be used a little more efficiently. So I tried different storage solutions, and I'm going to go through those today and show you bit by bit the different things that I got. So I'm going to break it into three sections: the front area, the back area, and the exterior, because I have different things. And basically what I'm going to do is create links in the description to any of the items that I got, because for everything I got, I probably got 2 or 3 and sent others back. And so this is sort of these are the things that I got and I'm keeping in my Grenadier, and they're for you to consider when you're looking around, because there's a lot of things offered on Amazon, and some of them are good and some of them are not so good, and a lot of them are pretty hefty priced. But even so, I found that some of them are definitely worth the investment. So I'm going to go through the different parts of my car and sort of identify them, and then have corresponding links. And of course the Amazon links are affiliate links, which means I earn a commission if you use the link. But some of the third-party vendor links are not affiliate links. They're just good solutions that I liked and I'm recommending. And it's all basically for you to take a look at, and when you make your decision, you might agree, or you might find other things that will sort of help you start the discussion. So let's go inside, and we'll start in the front section of the car, okay? This is the pocket organizer, and it's a simple little extra storage thing. I keep my earbuds in it and a little bottle of hand sanitizer. It's good, but the sticky tape that comes with it doesn't hold. And so I actually used a tape called Alien Tape, which is a dual-sided removable tape. And I'd recommend that you do something like that if you get this. It just gives you a little extra space. It doesn't hit your knee. And so I just thought it was a little handy. You can also put sunglasses in it. This is called the Door Storage Organizer. And basically it's just got cup holder sized circles that fits in the door pocket, and that's so that things don't rumble around. And it's loosely functional. It's a little bit overpriced for what it is, but it keeps things from rattling. And then also I found round tissue boxes. The Grenadier has storage underneath the seats, and there's a lot of different solutions for putting little bits of storage for keeping whatever you want to store: garage remotes, sunglass cases, etc. And I got ones that work more like a drawer. They also have some that zip up or are a little more sturdy, but these seem to fit my need just perfectly, because I have one on the passenger side so that they can put their glasses and caps and things, and they come in a set of 2 or 1. They're overpriced, but they just sort of fit the space exactly, and so they get an okay by me. Now when it comes to the central storage space, this little tray was about $59, but it exactly fits the upper part of this storage compartment. And so there aren't any substitutes for this, and so it was just perfectly made. I say it's worth it, but you may have a different opinion. But I felt like this box is one of the only storage places that we have, and it's like a cavern, and you can't really see in there. And so another thing that I did, I got little LED lighting that plugs into the USB pocket so that it shines a light into the space when the car is turned on. It doesn't use any extra electricity because it goes off when the car is turned off, but I thought that was a good use of one of the USB ports. Now, those USB ports actually also can have MP3s on them for your sound system. So you're taking up one of those spaces, but there's a USB-C slot and a USB-A slot, and either one of them can have an LED light or MP3s. So you can have both. That's basically what I did. I put MP3s on one of them, and I have this LED light in the other. And even when I have this top put in, you can still see a little light cracking through. And at night, it's just perfect for being able to find something that's down there. Another thing that I'd recommend is a USB flashlight, and that is just a little USB rechargeable flashlight. That I always keep a flashlight in my car, but I've sort of moved to ones that can be recharged, because it seems like whenever you want to use them, the batteries are dead. So I chose to get these USB flashlights, and they come in packs of 4, and they're not expensive. And so I have one in the car, I have a couple in the house, in different places, wherever I need a flashlight. And then inside here, there's also a cigarette lighter adapter, and I use it for one of two things. One, you can use these kind of USB power adapters if you need extra USB power. And sometimes if I'm doing extra charging, I'll use this as a USB power. But I actually also have a can cooler that I put my soda can in, and it plugs into the cigarette adapter. And even with that plugged in, the top closes down. But this is one of the few that I found that actually fits into the cup holder, because I'm a soda can drinker, and soda cans fit in the cup holder. So I've heard a lot of complaints about the cup holders, but I don't seem to have a problem because I'm only putting soda cans in them. But this actually holds a soda can, and it fits into the cup holder, because all of the cooling electrics are out here. Now, yes, it does have a little bit of fan noise, but when you've got the car on, you don't even notice it. And it turns off when the car's turned off, so it doesn't drain any power. So I'm kind of enjoying it. It was something that I wasn't expecting to get, but it's exactly what I love to have, because I don't like to have to chug things down just because they're cold. Another thing I got, and I keep it under my seat, is this sunscreen shade. And it's one of those ones that folds up, and it fits exactly the size of the Grenadier front window, but it opens up like an exploding Swiss Army knife. You have to kind of hold it away from you because it really springs into place. But it basically has a shiny side and then a black side. And in hot days, when you don't want it to have the sunshine in the car, it's actually pretty useful, but it's really spring loaded. So it was worth the $30 that I paid for it, and I can recommend that you get one or something like it, but just hold it away from your face when you open it up. And then I just stuck it right under my seat, and it fits right on top of where that storage box is. So the next thing that I got, and this was mainly, if you saw the video on My Mother Hates My Grenadier, she doesn't like the Safari windows. She thinks that the first thing she said when we got in the car is, how do I close this? And I didn't tint them out when I first got the car, because I wanted to wait and see. And what I find is that where I sit, I'm really close to the top here, and the sun does not shine directly down on me, and I'm not bothered by it. Sometimes it's too bright a little bit, but not frequently. But what I did was I got these little ugly, I'm gonna say they're ugly, but they're very functional, window covers that have little suction cups, and they're just little mats. And for $30, they do what you need them to do when you need them to do it, because they basically just stick up in place and they block out the light. And that was a better solution for me than tinting, because even if I tint them further, it still shines light in, and my passenger is not too pleased with that. So I got these. I'd say they're worth the price, for even though they're not pretty, but when you need them, they actually do block out sunlight, the heat as well, because they're insulated material. And so just something for you to consider. But there are a lot of solutions. Some are much more elegant than this and you know, at a commensurate price. But I just felt like it was a good cheap solution for the times when I actually need something to be in the car. And they fold up and go out of the way very easily. So those are the Safari window covers. Next is a little tray. If you're familiar with the Grenadier, there's a little area right in front of the shifter, and it's little, like sunglasses barely fit in it. And a company made this little tray extension that just kind of gives it a little more space, and it's got a lip so that things just fit in there better. And it was probably about $50, so way overpriced. But again, a perfect solution just to extend the space and give me something that I can use, because now I can put my phone there temporarily, or I can put my sunglasses and they don't fall out because of this lip. And it just keeps them in place, and it's not stuck down. It's removable if I need it to be out of the way, but it doesn't impede the shifters at all. And so it gets a thumbs up from me. I'm pretty happy with it, frankly. And then another thing that I always recommend people get or put somewhere in your car is an Apple AirTag. I always put an Apple AirTag in my car for a couple reasons. One, just like missing luggage, if your car goes missing, you can track it. But also, it remembers where you park it, and it will remind you where it is. So if you forget where you parked, sometimes Apple CarPlay will remember and sometimes it won't, but the AirTags always remember where they're at. So I got an AirTag, and I recommend you get one, and you can hide it somewhere in your car where nobody will find it. Just remember that once a year you have to change the battery in it, which is very easily done. And then of course I put it in a little Pelican case because you can peel and stick it up somewhere. So just something that I recommend that you put somewhere in your Grenadier. So I talked about this in another video, but I got the Wolfbox rear view camera mirror, and I'm really pleased with it. The installation is with a special bracket, and I'll leave a link in the description to this video, but basically I had it professionally installed, and it gives me much better view of what's behind the car. I don't worry about putting things behind me in the car. And so I'll include all the links to the parts in the description, but there is a separate video that talks about my installation and also this special bracket from 67 Designs that allows you to take off your original rear view mirror and just install the bracket and this camera mirror, because it's a much cleaner install. But when I did that, I also installed power, and that's probably the thing that I'm more interested in showing you, and that is I installed USB power, and I'm going to unplug these things just so you can see. I had my installer put in an RV style power outlet, and it's wired into my overhead switches in my Grenadier. And on this side I put a little LED, and the LED actually helps light up the keyhole in the dark, because if I flip my switch on, the light comes on, and in the dark it actually lights up the keyhole, so I can see the keyhole to put my key in the ignition, which is kind of a Grenadier oversight. So I purposefully picked a power bracket that did not have an on-off switch, because most of the ones on Amazon have on-off switches, and instead I have it switched through my Grenadier through the power that I tapped into. And then in my descriptions you'll see that I linked to cables and little brackets like this that have little bendies. They're USB-A and USB-C things, so that I had a minimal reach to getting my phone bracket. Didn't have cables going all over the place, because I like clean installs. And so you'll see I just chose something where I had a really short run of a cable, and on this side I have an Apple Watch charger, because sometimes I forget to charge my watch, and when I'm driving I can just throw my watch on there. And so these are just things that I found helpful. These are not the most expensive phone chargers, but they have a little cooler, a fan that blows when it's charging your phone to keep it cool. But they clip into the vents, and they don't prevent me from turning the vent and opening and closing the vent. And so I thought that made it worth it. So they were only about $30. And again, links in the description. So that's my USB setup, but basically I wanted to have some power forward because the nearest place where you can plug anything in is in the little storage box in the center. And if you want to have a situation where you've got your phone covered, then you'll probably want to consider doing something. Now again, I had this professionally installed at the time that I had my Wolfbox put in, and I discussed that a little bit in the video, but I'm linking to all the parts in this video because I've sort of trial and errored a lot of different power outlets and cable links and so forth, and depending on what kind of phone charger you have, you might have a slightly different solution. But I got these are 90-degree cables so that it's mainly taking the least amount of space and not sticking out and so forth. So again, I'll leave my links, but basically just know that the reason I'm linking to them is sort of because I sort of did this custom setup where I kind of wanted minimal cable. Actually, let's go in the glove box for a second. In the glove box, if you haven't seen it before, it's small. And about the only thing that's going to fit in it is your owner's manual. And I'm going to tell you that this is a car you're going to want to keep the owner's manual handy, because I find that I refer to it often because there are things in this car that do not make sense, and I want to look up the written word to understand what it should be doing or how I can interpret it. And one of the things I got was this cover. This cover is made by a company called Overland Gear Guy, and it's just perfect. They actually make them in different colors, and so I'll have a link in the description. But he's a really nice guy, and I'll show you some of the stores that he creates for Grenadiers in the rear when we get to the rear. But this is an owner's manual cover, and again, I'll link to it in the description. But you're going to want to keep that in the glove box because I'm telling you, you're going to be referring to it now and again. So let's go into the back seat. Okay, so in the back seat, I don't have too much going on here. I have my little iPod pillow that I keep, because I always keep a pillow around to shove behind my back if I sometimes need a little lumbar support. But again, here in the bottom, I put one of those LED switches. Let me turn them on. Okay, so again, there's no footwell lighting in the back seat whatsoever, and at night it's pitch black in here. And so using these little LED lights, I just threw a little light on the floor. Okay, so when it comes to the rear of the Grenadier, we've got a few things going on here. I'm going to set my keys down. First one is this side storage that I put in. It's available on Amazon, it's available in a few other places, but it's basically one manufacturer than in China. And so the price is the same wherever you get them. There's a right side and a left. This is the left side, and this is the right side. And it's perfectly made to fit in the Grenadier. And there's just a few bolts that you take out from the tie-down rings, and it fits right in place, because it's something that you can totally do yourself. And then the Overland Gear Guy makes storage bags that just perfectly fit, and you can specify the color that you want, and there's a deep one for this side and a longer short one on this side, and it's just perfect for carrying things in the car that you don't want rolling around the back, because I find this space to be really huge and wonderful, but things just like to roll around in it. This is called the Cargo Management System, and it's from INEOS directly. You can order it from your INEOS parts department, and basically what it does is it fits in the utility rail, so you have to have the utility rail, but it can slide to actually fit in whatever load you're trying to secure. So like if you have a half of a load of stuff, you can put this in the middle, and it doesn't have to be on both sides in the same way. Set this down, and so it's kind of creates a barrier or a barricade for anything you're trying to keep stored. And then this one can be used almost like a seat belt and moved to position according to the space. So between the two of them, it's supposed to organize your cargo. And I think it's a great addition. And that's available from your INEOS dealer. Just contact them. Then this one, everybody's seen in the configurator, it's called the Luggage Organizer. And it's funny, you know, the pictures of it were really bad on the website, but this actually has the INEOS Lambda in the design, which I thought was kind of interesting. But it opens up into 1 or 2 compartments, and it's got a little hook on one side, which I can't even find right now, that basically can hook to the side. And frankly, I think that's probably the weakest part of it. It's right here. It's got a little hook so that it can hook down to a tie down on your luggage rail. But what I find is I keep it for occasions, and then I just keep it in the back. And then if I have a small thing to put in my car, I can just throw it inside of there and it won't go rolling around. Because one thing I've learned, and I'm a short dude, is the height starts really high and then it goes up. And it doesn't go deep particularly, and it doesn't go super wide. So using the space efficiently is sometimes a bit of a challenge, even though there's so much space. So having some storage on the side and having utilizing the space efficiently sort of makes up for that. So that's, and then let's talk about this cover, load space cover. This is from a company called Inhabit. And Inhabit makes flooring for RVs, and they just happen to make floor mats and rear cargo covers for the INEOS Grenadier. And it was probably the nicest thing that I saw. It's kind of got a rubber backing, and it comes in several different colors. Again, I'll link in the description. And they're a great company. They actually make them to order, so you will not instantly get them. They sometimes have a lead time of a few weeks, but it's washable, and that's one of their benefits, is that you can put it under a hose and even a pressure wash and clean it out. So it's durable, but there's also probably about 10 different colors that you can choose. I chose this as their blue, and I really like it. I didn't get the floor mats because I got carpeted floor mats from INEOS that you'd say Grenadier, and so I didn't need to change those out. But I did get these door inserts that I'll show you some pictures of that actually fit into all the nooks and crannies around the car, and they match this color, and they just kind of add a nice touch to the Grenadier. So that's a company called Inhabit, and I spoke with them and helped them. You just need to specify whether or not you have the rails, because they originally had their website thinking that only trial masters had these rails, and so I helped them correct that. So now it'll ask you whether or not you want to cover the rails. But that's the difference. They have ones for people that don't have the rear rails, and they have the ones for the people that do have the utility rails. So that's the load space cover. I love it because it dresses it up quite a bit. I'm impressed with it's a nice look. So, okay, then let's go to the door for a second. And on the door, I got these little, they're just little tuggy. They have the 2 screws that are already on the door that I basically just took out, and it just gave a nice tug, because you'll find if you don't have your Grenadier yet, there's nowhere to grab. And so you're always grabbing on this with the door seal. So I wanted something that I could tug, and on both doors there's now a tug that makes it a lot easier to close. But when I do close the door, I still find that you have to push. You have to push on something to get this door to close, because I'm not really happy about constantly pushing on these door seals. So you either push here or you push on the tire, because you got to give it a good push in order to get it to close. And then on this side, it's really easy because you just grab onto the ladder and give it a close, and it's nice and tight. But I added those handles because I just thought, they look kind of nice, and they come in a few different colors. Again, I'll link to them, and you can perhaps add something. There's also companies that make sturdy steel handles and things like that, but again, they're choices, but it's just something for you to consider. Next is this cover that I got for my spare tire, and basically it goes around the rear storage so that it doesn't cover it up. And that was I preferred that. They actually sell one that covers up the entire spare tire that you can get, but it was just the perfect size for the Grenadier tire. And I like it because it kind of keeps the look of the rear of the car, and it keeps my tire from baking in the sun. Another thing that I wanted to mention is that in the Grenadier, everything is Torx. And so I recommend that you invest in a Torx driver set, something I'll link in the description, but basically something that's got all the different Torx bits. And then also, if you're going to do some of the other projects, actual Torx bits, because the 45 and 47 seem to show up a lot, and those are a little bit bigger than you normally get in regular Torx kits. So I included links to those, but basically I found that I use them often and I keep them in the car. Another thing that I also keep in all my cars is some activated charcoal. And that's just basically to pull some smells out. They come in different sizes, but I shove them in different places, or just kind of leave them in door pockets, because I don't like cars that smell. And if the car traps moisture, I don't want to find unfortunate things. So I always keep some activated charcoal in the car. Another thing that I got, and I didn't do much trim upgrade, is I ordered one of these covers that fits on the shifter, and it's probably the only appearance item that I added, because in the center they make covers for things like this and this in kind of fake carbon fiber, and that doesn't really appeal to me. But what I did notice is that if you're the kind of person that sets things down in this space, it's going to scuff up. I've seen Grenadiers already that are just totaled in terms of scuffs and scratches. And so if you're heavy at laying down things in this area, you might want to consider something that's going to protect it. But for me, I just like the clean look of nothingness. So I decided not to add anything except for this little cover. And I got the shiny black one because it matches the shiny black of the other shifter. But I'm not really big on dials and things like that, because they make a lot of third-party things for knob covers and dash accessories that I didn't cover, because I don't do that kind of stuff. I like utility and efficiency, as I said, space and power, and the rest is what it is. I kind of like the design, unfettered, the look of my Grenadier. And again, this is the switch that powers my USB in the front, and then this is the internal power switch, so that I can turn these things on when the car is actually off and the key is not in, but it turns on my USB so that I could still charge my phone, or I could still see to put my key in. And if I switch this switch off, then that power is disconnected. And when I turn the car on, because this switch is on, it will still power the USB and the LED lights and so forth. So anyway, I hope that gave you some things to think about. I know it's a lot of different bits and bobs, but basically you might want to bookmark this one and consider it your list, or a shopping guide of things that you might want to consider when you get a Grenadier, because for everything that I got here, I probably sent 1 or 2 of each back, because I wanted to try things and I wanted to get just exactly what I wanted. And sometimes I ordered things and I thought they were kind of cheesy or kind of not quality. And so I only kept things that I felt like spoke well of the Grenadier and kind of fit the character. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed that, and we'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.